And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
What's going on, RBLR Nation? You are tuning into the Bucs version of this podcast. I know it sounds a little different. Unfortunately, there's a few people who couldn't be here. Our thoughts are with all of them. But since it is me, Zach Blaine, who you're usually listening to on the Rays podcast, I had to bring in someone that is possibly the greatest team with me in the world, Mr. Eureka Wheeler. How are you doing, brother?
Wait, we are not talking about the Bandits today? Is that not?
I know it's the same sport, but a little bit of a different team.
Well, some might say that the Bandits might be able to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Gosh, I mean, I think that's a great segue into just a horrible week of Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
Yeah.
And just for you guys listening, if you guys, before we get into it, could just, wherever you listen to this, give us a like, give us a follow. We'd greatly appreciate it. It's going to be a little different today because Eureka and I were not prepared to be the only two on the show. I know we should always be ready, but we weren't. Not going to lie to you guys.
Yeah.
So it might sound a little bit different, but I promise you we're going to touch on a little bit of everything that happened this week, and we're going to do our best.
Oh, I definitely have an opinion. We have some opinions. We'll get to them, yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, perfect segue. What is your take on this 21-3 loss to a very bad Carolina Panthers team?
Yeah, you had asked, what went wrong for Tampa, and I was kind of being a smart ass, but I wrote everything. But deeper inflection shows that that's pretty much the right feeling, or at least it's the correct feeling I have, which is the play calling was suspect. We couldn't catch passes. We couldn't run the ball. We even got injured. Brady, unfortunately, was carried off with a stretcher, and other multiple injuries hit us at the exact wrong time and will even impact the short week that we're about to have. So, yeah, it was just bad. Like, everything was bad. Zach, am I wrong? Was there anything that I missed that else that was bad?
Yeah, I mean you're spot on. I think Brady was taken off in the Pittsburgh game, so I don't think that he was in this game. But I mean it's still a relevant point because we have Kyle Rudolph who had one catch.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you that even an injury that you don't think is serious, obviously it's serious, but to the team.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think losing Cam Brate's going to be a big deal, but then you realize how bad we need Rob Gronkowski and how bad we needed some of those bigger name free agents that just we couldn't afford because we were trying to sign, Super Bowl winning players that have won with us. But I think that all in all, just there was nothing good. Like, I can't point out a single good thing from this game and take a positive light on it.
Well, and then on the flip side, right, it was like looking at what Carolina did specifically that was like better, other than Deonta Foreman getting 118 yards on the ground, but most of that's from one play, like a 60-yard long play. He averaged 8 yards because of it, but 15 carries. You take away the 60 yards, it looks a little bit more manageable. But you got PJ Walker, which of course, look, you and I follow spring leagues all the time. I will always root for an underdog like PJ Walker. But dude, he threw the ball 22 times, which is what you want to do with a backup quarterback. And he ended up getting 2 touchdowns, but that was sort of like a back-to-back kind of thing. But other than pounding the rock, it's not like Carolina did anything amazing to beat up a what we all assume is a really, really, really good Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think they looked, for lack of a better word, just very mid this game. They looked very middle of the road.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned Foreman as 7.9 yards a carry. Then you look at Chuba Hubbard, however you pronounce his first name.
Yeah.
Love his name, but I mean, you look at that, and he also averaged 7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So it's when you look at what our team is good at in previous years, it's always been run defense, and we've talked about this on previous weeks. You don't it just doesn't click to me that we had 2 guys rushing for over 7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And it, like, I just makes my mind go crazy because we are supposed to be that powerhouse, and like technically we're still in first place in the division, but we have teams
Yeah.
like Atlanta and
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Like it just is not a
Yeah.
strong division. So
Yeah.
it, yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on in saying that they didn't really do anything better than us aside from their defense held us out of the end zone.
Well, if you look like Carolina, 4 for 12 on third down, that's not
Yeah,
beating anybody. Okay, I mean it beat us, but that's because we went 2 for 12, 2 for 12 on third down. Um, but the Bucs tried to go for it 3 times on fourth down because they're desperate. They're in desperation mode against the 1-5 Carolina Panthers at the time.
yeah,
I mean, it's just look. First, it was they couldn't run the ball. Then they just abandoned running the ball, and then you have these. I guess let's get into the first big point, which is like Mike Evans.
well,
He's supposed to be the number one option, and if you look at the box score, man, 96 yards on 9 receptions. Oh man, he even had
yeah.
a 20-yard long. Yeah, but it was the one that he dropped in the end zone that was a touchdown that just was a gut punch that this team never recovered from.
Yeah, and it felt like watching that you could just see the whole team, just like all the fans, everyone in the stadium. It just looked like everyone just kind of gave up at that point. And it's when you look at Mike Evans, that's not what you expect from him.
Sure.
Like my dad always jokes around because he's a Tampa fan and a New England fan, so he always gives me crap about Mike Evans. Like he'll catch 3 passes, but he'll drop one perfect one. And I mean, it came true. Like that's exactly what happened in this game. Had we caught that touchdown, I mean, we can't predict what would have happened, but had we caught that touchdown, it may not have won us the game, but momentum is such a big thing in sports.
Yeah.
And that just the momentum that Carolina got from that drop, I feel like is what ultimately just derailed our whole offense.
Well, so where do the Bucs go from here, man? I mean, I don't know. We can go over this game with a fine-tooth comb and just keep finding ways that they were disappointing, but really, as a fan base, I think we really need to think about, well, where do we go? Because we have another game, yet another game. If Pittsburgh wasn't bad enough and Carolina wasn't bad enough, now we have a short week against a pretty vulnerable Baltimore Ravens team. But at this point, until the Buccaneers show any different, I don't think they're the favorite. If not, I don't know how much I should trust this team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only place for Tampa to go at this point is they need to go to their computer and get on to shop.rblrsports.com
Oh,
and
baby.
buy some cool shirts because I think that's the only thing that's going to help them at this point.
Oh,
Uh,
baby.
We've got some of the coolest Tampa Bay sports inspired T-shirts. We got Rays inspired, Bucks, Bandits, Lightning, Rowdies. Just go ahead, go over there. I know the hockey season just started not too long ago. Go over there and get some merch, and I might even be able to give Eureka the mic here, and he might just be able to give you guys a discount code.
I can. If you use the promo code CANNONS, 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 you're going to get 10% off your entire order. So then if you order a Rays-inspired T-shirt, a Bucks-inspired T-shirt, a Rowdies-inspired T-shirt, you throw all them things in the cart, boom, 10% off all the order. The more you buy, the more you save. And again, it goes towards a good cause, and that's being able to bring Zach Blaine over to another show whenever we can. We get to buy him 2 of the adult Happy Meals at McDonald's or the McRib is back. So
That's my favorite too.
Do your part. Help Zach get a McRib.
I need that McRib, guys.
And you get a good T-shirt on your back. So, dude, we have to laugh because otherwise I'd be crying.
I mean, and you're not wrong, and that's the thing. So to answer the question, like, where does Tampa go? It just feels like I know I tweeted out. If you guys follow me, you saw it. I mostly tweet about the Rays because I'm on the Rays show, so I got to throw out, my stuff. But
Yeah.
it was so bad that I had to tweet about Tampa. And to me, man, I don't want to be a naysayer, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Like Brady doesn't look like Brady. The offense doesn't look like our offense. we lost Antoine Winfield to a concussion, so he's out for a little while. It feels like unless some major changes are made, we're destined to just continue this middle of the road team. And I wouldn't even say middle of the road at this point when you play two teams like Pittsburgh and Carolina and put up, they put up like 13 points total, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like that's not good football, and it's not gonna win you games very often.
Look, realistically, I think I have to pull myself out of the funk because right now we were getting tweets about it's a Bucs life is back, Buccaneers football's finally arrived, the good times are over, and it really does feel like that in one sense of the phrase. But to be honest with you, this is still the same team that we all expected to be a runaway favorite in this division. This is still the team that we were looking for the depth pieces to step up, and that's really what it's going to take because, Zach, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a trade that goes out and makes this. You guys talked about it last week a little bit with maybe some free agents or someone to pull in, but I don't think there's a magic elixir that they go out and just pull a dude on the team and it makes things better. Am I wrong on that first part?
No, I mean you're spot on. I don't see Tampa making a trade to get any better, mostly because we're so strapped for cash at this point, and it's like Tampa's got a lot of aging guys, so
Sure.
a lot of teams aren't going to want to take on a contract to give us someone that's going to make us better when they're not getting someone that's going to play for them long term. Like I could go out and say, let's go get Kareem Hunt. I've heard that he's available on the trade market. Yeah, that would be awesome. Pair Kareem Hunt with Leonard Fournette. Like I think he's a better option than Rashard White. But realistically, what are the odds of us getting him? Like it's slim to none at this point.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're just going to need those guys to come back and play. Not even at the level they were playing. We're going to need these guys to come back and play well above the level that they were playing at before any point in their career. Yeah. We're going to need prime Julio Jones. We're not getting prime Julio Jones. Like that's not going to happen. We need prime Tom Brady. I think Brady's got too much stuff going on off the field to get back to prime Tom Brady.
I want to get into that. I want to dig a little deeper on that. But finish your point. Sorry.
Yeah. No. You're good because that's kind of the end of it. It just feels like that there's nothing that this team can do externally, realistically, that I think is going to make us any better.
So, Brady, how much of – because, look, I think I have an opinion, you have an opinion, but the what I'm getting from taking the pulse out there is that people are really split on Brady. Is Brady part of the problem, or is he the one person that's like everyone else is failing him? How do you feel about that?
As a fan, if you look at this team and honestly believe that Brady is not part of the problem, with all due respect, you're delusional. Because, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean the quarterback is the heartbeat of the team. Like, that is your team. Yeah. You have a bad quarterback, you're going to have a bad team. That's how it works. Yeah. Look, Brady is not playing good football right now. I mean, 32 of 49 for 290 yards, no TDs. That's like 290 yards doesn't look terrible. No interceptions doesn't look terrible, but when you're not getting it done in the red zone, when you're not able to convert third downs, you're not able to convert fourth downs, it's, you got to take part of that blame on yourself. And I feel like Brady is saying all the right things right now. Oh, no one's happy with where we're at. We're going to turn it around. I just feel like he's saying the right things, but not meaning the right things, if that makes sense.
Winning is the one elixir, right? If we beat an ugly game, like if we won an ugly game against the Panthers and we won an ugly game against Pittsburgh, which we almost did, we would be sitting in a different realm where we would say, guys, everyone's like, we're really lucky to get through this easy part of our schedule before we get through the rest of the year. But the fact that we didn't, and like all these little nagging things that should be just like laughed off about, like the off the field stuff about Tom Brady, it just piles on when they're losing and they're losing bad.
Yeah.
And again, I have to say that everyone is the problem, all right? But Brady is part of the everyone, and he's the major cog in the offense.
Exactly.
So if Brady were overperforming and making people look better than they are, that's one thing. But, look, Brady is showing his age a little bit, and he knows he needs to get better. But at this point, the excuses have to end. Like he is, for all, I always rag on Santiago for, he says the GOAT, 7 times an episode, and I poke and prod at him because lovingly, jokingly, but at this point it's like he's earned the benefit of the doubt because he is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help us when we're a 500 team hoping to be able to win the division because it's still possible. And this is why, if we didn't have a Tom Brady, we would probably be more thinking about like, well, who do we sell? What contract can we shed? How do we position ourselves for a better outcome in the future? But because you have Brady, you're in win now mode, and we can still win this division. So is he part of the problem? He's more part of the solution. He is part of the problem, but because you have him, now it goes into kind of my next thing, which is that like everyone else absolutely has to step it up. You had said it before too, like we need all these guys to come back from injuries and be better than they were this year, but we also now need all of the depth pieces to step up. And part of that, I think, is getting players in the right positions. And I think that transitioning away from Brady, yes, he's part of the problem. He needs to figure it out. But he's going to have to start getting other people to play better than they are. I mean, just because, the Millers and the just the guys that we probably should never know.
The Millers,
the guys that we should never know who their names are until they pull a crazy play on a special teams. These are the dudes that are going to have to be household names for a few weeks. But that starts with Byron Leftwich, man. To go deeper into something we didn't really talk about, but it's been a problem for multiple weeks though, is that better play calling has to start with a better balance. They're running way too much. First down running failure is leading up to third down failure across the board, and it's not getting it done, so they're having to rely to a pass-heavy attack. But even that, even the passing plays haven't been getting people open, and unfortunately, the guys that get open haven't caught the ball. So, But if you're going to have players in there that aren't the top level guys, you're going to need to come up with interesting schemes and interesting things to open up at least one or two guys that Brady can find in a quick, timely manner. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but
no, stay on it, man.
But that's my first thing is Byron Leftwich he's been a glaring misnomer in the past 3 games for sure.
And I think that I'm glad that you touched on that because the last few weeks, I mean, especially the last 2 weeks, it's been, you have to take a good hard look at the coaching staff. Todd Bowles, who Bruce Arians personally wanted to be the head coach. He vouched for him like he's the guy.
Yeah.
Is showing why he failed with the Jets. And Byron Leftwich, who I was hoping that Tampa would make the head coach.
Ooh, okay.
Again, keyword is was.
Okay.
Is not looking so hot right now.
Yeah.
With that being said, I believe Byron Leftwich would have been a better option because we could have very easily brought in another offensive coordinator. And Todd Bowles is the defensive coordinator. I mean, our defense was top 5 ranked.
Yeah.
So when you look at it now, we're not top 5 ranked on defense. We're not top 5 ranked on offense. So it just feels like the coaching – I'm not saying fire both of them right now.
Yeah.
but I am saying that their seats are a little bit hotter. There's a match lit under their seats at this point.
Well, this goes back to Brady too. One of the better things about having a Tom Brady is that I think you have Todd Bowles, and pretty much he's just like, hey, Byron and Tom, figure this out. They've been running a lot of the same offense that they have run over the last couple years, and this is where I'm saying this needs to change. Brady has to make changes on the field. Leftwich has to make changes in the meeting room, right? And hopefully that's a symbiotic relationship that is a positive change and a positive outcome. And that's kind of just that's where I'm really, really hoping to see. I'm hoping to see them scrap the old ways that they've done for 5 games now, or 7 games. So, so scrap the playbook that they've been running because it's been ineffective, at least in the last month. Come up with something better. Come up with something that is tooled for the players that you have at your disposal. And we need to accentuate the positives and get away from the negatives. And one of the negatives, Zach, has been the offensive line. And again, this kind of goes into if we're running with a bunch of backups, and if the line isn't going to be able to protect Tom Brady for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, there needs to be quicker throws. There needs to be
exactly.
There needs to be a more up-tempo scheme.
Run some slants.
well, I mean, to be honest,
that's hypothetical, but yeah,
sure. But again, like it's kind of fundamentally that's what I think you would do. That would be the elixir. Is that like, look, man, they've got a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, or they've got this edge rusher that's going to dominate our backup guy. How do we limit the exposure?
No, and you're exactly right, and I think that's where the big issue has come from coaching, is that there's been no adjustments. We're looking at guys that are rushing the ball 6-8 times, and they're averaging 4. 4 is the max. It's just last game. Rashard White had 6 carries for 24 yards, averaging 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, 3-year, $21 million deal, 8 rushes, 19 yards. That's 2.4 yards a carry. Like, and Byron Leftwich is like, let's just run it. Just keep running it. It's going to work. Like, no, dude, it's not going to work. It hasn't worked in 2 weeks. Why is it going to magically start working right now?
Well, and then he laughed at, there was a reporter in there from Pewter Report, and I think what stinks, because we get this too sometimes when we're in press conference situations, they kind of look at the blogs and the podcasts, and they're like, yeah, whatever. You get a bunch of nerds, right? Yeah. There was a really good question that Byron Leftwich was handed, which was like, why do you keep running the ball when expected points added, right? Here's an analytic statistic, okay? But it's showing that, like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Why do you continue to shoot yourself in the foot? And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it was asked. And he was like shaking his head and laughing like, we're what? We're dead last in EPA? What is that? What is that? Whatever, dude. Like, and it's like, no, like, you can laugh at a nerd with a statistic or whatever, LOL, dude. But in reality, like,
it's legit.
It's telling the story of what you're doing wrong. And if you're not able to look at yourself, and instead of laughing off like analytics or something, or just kind of laughing at the situation, it's like, it's pretty dire. And the fan base, there's a palpable feeling that this is not good. And we need to know that we have the right people in place to make the changes to make the bleeding stop.
Yeah, exactly. And I would be willing to bet that if you were to poll the fans, 90% of them are ready for Leftwich to go.
Yeah.
So to see that reaction, I guess, is immature, childish. Like, I feel like those aren't the right words, but that's like what's coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
It's not professional, and it's not intelligent to me to see a coach be like, oh, we're last in the stat. Who cares? Like, it's just not what a coach should be doing.
Well, that goes into an on-the-field change, an actual change that I think they could do as well, is I think they do need to make a change when it comes to the running back room. To me, Leonard Fournette has shown he can catch out of the backfield, but his pass blocking has been dreadful.
Atrocious.
And it's been that way for a couple years now. So for me, it's time to make a change, man. I think that Fournette's getting the majority of their snaps. I would love to see Rachaad White in a featured role. And
Ooh.
not that Rachaad White is maybe the end all be all answer to it, but I think Rachaad White has more upside. He's probably just as bad at pass blocking as Fournette is, with a better upside out of the backfield, a better upside getting carries, a better upside overall. And it's one of the little sparks that I think, because look, Rachaad White's a very confident man. If I can say one thing about him, is that he is ready. And look, we're seeing the vet, and the vet ain't getting it done, man. And playoff Lenny was playoff Lenny, but regular season Lenny sometimes ain't that great. And right now, it's time to hand the rock off to somebody different, or at least get someone else involved. And I would love to see, if not, a committee, a true committee being done.
Yeah.
I think you hand the rock to Rachaad White until he fails, and I think that's one on the field change that they can make immediately that shows the rest of the team that, like, just because you're a vet, just because you were here, just because you got a ring, doesn't mean you're here when we're literally under 500 and fighting for our playoff hopes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that run blocking, not being good at run blocking, can be overlooked at times when you're rushing for 90 to 100 yards a game with 2 touchdowns.
Sure.
Like, when you're doing that, it's not as bad. Now, when you're running for 3 yards a carry, like, that's not gonna. At this point, you're just a bad running back. And I'm not saying that Lenny is a bad running back. I love him. He's one of my favorite players on the team. But statistically, this season, he's not a good running back.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that plays into the line. So I'm not necessarily opposed to Rachaad White. I don't know that I would give him full reign yet, but I do think that he needs to be more thrown into the fire at this point.
Yeah.
I think that he's confident enough. I think he's got the talent to be a lead back, and I think that he can be that. I just, with this line, I don't know.
Well, Zach, let's get into Baltimore, man. We're doing this on a Wednesday night. I don't know how excited you are to have another a game so quickly when we have so many things to figure out. But I guess no better time than now to preview that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're going to play Baltimore. They are bottom half of the league in pass offense, top half of the league in pass or run defense or run offense. Sorry.
Okay.
And then it's the same exact thing on defense. They're bottom half of the league in pass defense, top half of the league in run defense. Now, they are a team that is just behind Tampa Bay and New England in total sacks at 20 sacks this season. They are terrifying to me because I had put this question to our group in the Bucs chat.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams that have been kind of underperforming what we expected this year, and that's Green Bay, Tampa, and Baltimore. Baltimore looks like they're riding that ship, and Tampa looks like they're riding the ship right to the bottom of the ocean. It's as does Green Bay. Like, Green Bay's awful, so I'm not even putting them in that conversation anymore. So how do those 2 teams that are underperforming what most people thought they would? I think that this game has big implications on the rest of the season and how it goes.
They got to look. It's a must-win game. It really, really is a must-win game for the Buccaneers. I mean, look, they have a chance at home to right the ship against a team that is really vulnerable. I mean, look, they have a really good rushing attack, but that when you look at it overall, and that's because of one man, and that's because of Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson is having a down year in terms of throwing the ball. And it's not like they have a lot of wide receiver weapons or that I think you would game plan against. It's all about Lamar. It's all about being able to he's an unorthodox style player. Yeah. Because he's one of these guys that he can still run, he can still throw. So at any point, you have to be ready for 2 plays. The one play they called and the play they're going to run when the play breaks down, right? Thankfully, though, that's the strength of this Tampa Bay team, is that they're going against our great, our good defense. I can't really say great right now, but like, and with the people that we're missing right now, okay, we are missing multiple starters on
Yeah,
defense.
Carlton Davis,
Right.
Sean Murphy Bunting, Antoine Winfield, like
Yeah.
some of our biggest off our defensive players, in all honesty.
But still, even with all that, it's still the strength, and I think it actually matches up with what Baltimore is good at, and I think we stuff the run. I'd love to get your thoughts on matchups and what you think will happen, but the Bucs stuff the run. The Bucs are going to be going against a weakened pass attack that I think that they'll be fine even with backups, and again, the defense isn't who I worry about. It's the offense in this game. It is, can they sustain an attack against a defense that's going to in the top 10 in sacks? Can they can they give Brady enough time to pick apart a depleted secondary, right? And if the Baltimore's already going to be good at stuffing the run, can they get a well-timed screen? Can they make a well-timed short yardage conversion? Like you know me, man. I always say the little things matter. And at this point, as long as we get one more point into Baltimore, that's all I care about. It's all I care about.
It could be a 2-3 win, and I'd be happy about it at this point.
100%.
But I think that it plays. Tampa's run defense is not the best. We are very, very middle of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, we're allowing 118 yards per game, and this is what Baltimore is very good at.
Well,
that's what scares me.
Who's their non-Lamar Jackson running threat, though?
Gus Edwards had 66 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, and he's a power back. You got Justice Hill. Kenyon Drake's a track star. Last week didn't do very well. He had 11 carries for 5 yards.
Yeah.
So that's not great, but kind of.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like the power back. Okay. If they get down into the red zone and it's a goal line situation, sure. You can have like an old school Jerome Bettis type guy. The speedy backs, I think that. Guys like Devin White are going to be able to neutralize these guys. I believe that without going right into matchups, but like I think we have the tools to stop the run against Baltimore. A non-Lamar Jackson running game, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into matchups, and I think we can kind of touch on those as we go because you're right. Devin White on Gus Edwards, good matchup for us. Gus isn't very fast. Gus Edwards isn't very fast, and Devin White is quick and is a solid tackler. He's not the best at this point, but he's solid.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I think if Kenyon Drake has a good game or Justice Hill has a good game, it's going to come at the expense of guys like Devin White, Levante David. Yeah. Because as quick as Devin White is, he's not the shiftiest at middle linebacker like I would like. And Kenyon Drake, I'm telling you, man, I think he's going to have a big game against us, which is scary because if he gets in the open field and it's him on Devin White, it's one cut. Like Kenyon Drake is that fast. Is he the best running back in the world? No, but I think that he has the potential to look like the best running back against our defense tomorrow.
Yeah, Devin White has to have a consistent 4 quarters this week. He's been feast or famine this year. He needs to shore up the tackling again. He really has to wrap it up because he needs to use his speed to stifle the Ravens and shore up tackling means that their quick threat is neutralized. And I think you're putting Devin White on your quick backs out of the backfield.
100%.
Anything else is we'll let the guys in the middle and like the Vita Veda and all the other
Hicks
guys
might be playing this week.
Yeah, but you're just kind of like you're keeping the front seven to deal with rushes up the middle. It's Devin White's of the world, maybe a safety coming up to help out of the backfield. That's again, I think we have the tools to do that.
I hope we do, but unfortunately, I think that our tools are going to be taken into another key matchup in my mind because Baltimore has a great quarterback, in my opinion. I think Lamar Jackson is one of the top probably 7 quarterbacks in the league. I might even put him up higher than that.
I'd love to have him. Yeah, I'd love to.
And Mark Andrews is legitimately probably the second best tight end in the league.
Okay.
Now, he is injured, or at least was, and he didn't practice at all this week, so there's a strong chance he doesn't play.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, Cleveland last week had the perfect defense against Mark Andrews. They shut him down. Baltimore does not have a go-to wide receiver at this point. I mean, they've got the likes of Rashard Bateman and Devin Duvernay and those guys, but those are not your key players. Your key player is Mark Andrews. He's going to have to be double-teamed. So I think that takes out one of the linebackers and a slot corner or maybe 2 of the linebackers on a short route. I don't know how they're going to play that, but I think they need to take what Cleveland did and basically mimic that because Cleveland made it a very close game.
Well, and then I guess that kind of goes into what guy I want to spotlight, which is Jamel Dean. He's going to be tasked with kind of being on that island. There is no Antoine Winfield. There is no Murphy Bunting. There is no Carlton Davis this week. So, or at least, they're looking pretty bad if they're not already out. So Jamel Dean's going to have to step up and take it. Look, if any one of these guys decides to have a really below average game, that's going to be the one little thing that breaks this open for them.
Yeah.
So everything you said, I completely agree with. I'm hoping Devin White, I'm hoping Jamel Dean, I'm hoping all these guys can scheme right. But again, I think that's the strength. Flipping it to the other side, that's the real matchup. It's can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers score points? End of sentence. Period.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it helps us though that Calais Campbell is out.
Okay.
He's had an illness all week, so he's not playing tomorrow. They've already ruled him out.
Yeah.
He is a stud of a defensive end at this point in his career. I don't know how he still is, but he is.
Yeah.
So that helps us. But
Yeah.
who did Carolina have that stopped us?
Dude, I know.
Who did Pittsburgh have that stopped us?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where my head's at. I think that we have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans really are the only healthy guys. Russell Gage is already out.
Nope.
Julio Jones is questionable.
Yep.
So it's like who do we have that's going to blow this game open? It's going to have to be a Brashard Perriman, a
maybe
Scotty Miller, a Mike Evans. Like it's just
yeah.
I can't even picture who's going to do it for us.
It's a good way to bookend, what I said in the beginning. But yeah, I mean, look, they're going to double team Evans or Godwin or whoever's like at the very top on whatever play. But the Ravens aren't good versus the past. 261 and a third yards per game. That's 26th in the league.
Yeah.
So guess what, guys? This is it. This is the game that Brady and whoever the merry band of Buccaneers are, they're going to be out there. Even if they're 5 wide the entire game, they're going to have to figure it out. But trenches is where it has been. I know you talking to you for these few years now. It's like I know you like to get down and dirty. So
yeah, 100%.
It's gonna also come down to the biggest weakness, I guess, is the offensive line, according to everybody in the world.
Yeah,
you got Luke Gadecki is out. Nick Leverett's coming in, and look, Nick Leverett's more of he's kind of one of these utility guys. He's really versatile. He can play a few positions. Now he's going to be tasked to put that on. But I think that gives more pressure to Donovan Smith, Tristan Wirfs, those guys that are going to be on the tackles. They're going to have an amazing game. And so if look, they have to have a better than their average game this year. Like between Wirfs, Leverett, Smith, and then whoever's blocking in the backfield, they cannot have a subpar game, and expect that there's going to be a difference of an outcome this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said better than their average game. I think they need to have better than their best game this week in order for it to come out the way that we want it to come out. And I think this is kind of a perfect segue into kind of our predictions. So I want to get with you and see where you're at with how you think this game's going to turn out and how it's going to go.
Ugly injuries, ugly play calling. Let's get ugly. Let's have an ugly score.
Yep.
I still think the Bucs win this game.
Wow. Okay.
Look, I've said earlier that until they prove me wrong, I am down on this team, but I'm even further down about the Baltimore Ravens right now. They are a team they are free falling a little bit. They need to figure their own stuff out. And they're going to come to play. They're going to come to win. But it's Thursday, and Thursdays are weird, dude. We've seen multiple Thursdays this year alone in an already an already weird season. Yeah. So I think the Buccaneers win by 6. That's 2 suck-up field goals. Look, we haven't given suck-up his proper due here.
Yeah, Santiago will be so mad at us right now.
Santiago is like he's gonna kill us next week. But like the special teams have not been the problem. I guess when I say everything, suck-up's been just fine.
100%.
The punting game's been just fine.
Yeah.
But look, there's only been one MVP that's ever been a kicker and I don't think it's gonna happen this year. But with all that said, I've been stalling. They win by 6, 19-13. Buccaneers win at home.
All right. See, I have less faith in the Bucs than I do in the Ravens at this point. So I'm going a 21-10 loss to Baltimore this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that our offensive woes are going to continue. We're going to continue to struggle. And I just think that realistically, there's a higher chance that we lose than win. And I want to be wrong. Again, I've said it before. I say my predictions hoping that they're wrong most of the time. But with that being said, one thing that's not wrong is you guys going to wherever you're listening to this, and I know I touched on it in the beginning, just give us a like, give us a follow, and then whatever social media you have, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, if it's still a thing, wherever you're at, just follow us at RBLR Sports on all the major platforms. We would greatly appreciate it, and I will send it over to Eureka for the last word.
In the spirit of Santiago Pombo, all that noise that we just talked for about an hour, I need you to shake all that off. I need you to go into the depths of that closet, pull out that pewter, pull out that red and white and black baby. F all this noise. It's our house. No purple birds are going to come into our house and beat us up. I don't care if it's the water boy, the equipment manager, the bloggers, the podcasters. If it's me and Zach, we are bringing the pain on Thursday night, and hopefully it gets us out of this rut. Tom Brady is still your quarterback, guys. We are not done yet. Do not put a fork in us. We have not given up yet. Do not give up yet. It is not a Bucs life. We need to raise the flags. We need to fire the cannons. And we need to be there for our Buccaneers as they pull up another dub. And we get to talk all the smack in the world about the Bucs are back, baby. So with that, for Zach Blaine, my name is Eureka Wheeler. I am a Bucs fan, and I hope you are too, baby. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us at RBLR. And with that, there's only one more thing to say, and that is go Bucs.
Hey, go Bucs, baby. Let's get it.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.